Hello, members, subscribers, and guests of the channel. My name is Yuri, and tomorrow is the International Women's Day. I have very fond memories of that day and its celebration back in my home country. And I learned today that apparently this day has a lot to do with gender equality and preventing women's discrimination. But the way it was celebrated in Russia was quite different. In Russia, it was celebration of women. It's when women been showered with compliments, showered with love, when women been told how much they needed, and it felt as just immense amount of appreciation for women at large. That day is tomorrow, and nearly 90% of my community are women. So it's only right to take a little bit of time to celebrate all the wonderful women out there and tell them why they so amazing and why they so needed. And I actually have one of the members of the community here with me, so I'm gonna bring her on. And it's her birthday today as well, so it's kind of a nice combination. Joanna, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I know I sent you a message, but I'm going to tell you in person, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
What's your plans today?
So, I'm going to go out with my friends to a restaurant and then we're going to go see a movie and we're probably going to hang out at a few places around downtown and then we're going to go home to my place and watch some scary movies.
That's a good day.
I'm looking forward to it.
So to my knowledge, International Women's Day, it's not really a thing in the United States. Have you heard about it before? Have you ever seen it being celebrated?
Yeah, I mean, usually from my personal experience, International Women's Day is like one of those things that you celebrate on Facebook in the US. Like, I'll see messages occasionally, like from my dad every year. He'll send me like something for Women's Day, or like a few people will like have posts on Facebook, but it seems to be more of a social media thing. And we don't really celebrate it in person, at least in my family or my friends. So it's kind of a shame.
Yeah, it's interesting because it seemed to be the Valentine's Day seemed to be a big deal when it comes to
Hmm.
love and really acknowledging women as gender, but this day here is it seemed to be kind of a minor thing or not celebrated or acknowledged by the most.
Right.
So what's your I don't really have a question, we can just chat. Yeah, I don't have a list of questions. What is
So
it
would
like?
you
Huh?
what's it like, huh?
What are you going to say?
I was gonna ask you, what did you usually do during Women's Day in Russia, like when you were growing up? Was it a big like celebration? Was it like parades and stuff, or was it more of a family thing where you would go to the women in your life and like give them gifts or something?
Yeah, there were definitely a lot of gifts. There were definitely a lot of show of appreciation. So if you a husband, for example, you would maybe take your woman out to a restaurant, or your wife, I mean, to a restaurant. You would do something to acknowledge how important she is. Um, Kids would do like drawings for their mothers, like you
Mm.
would see like TV, they would say a lot of great things, and everybody would congratulate women. So it was just a very kind of a obvious or intentional acknowledgement and celebration of women that took place. And it what's really was cool about it is that um it felt like a day of love dedicated to women, so it didn't matter what your status is, whether you were single, whether you were married, whether you have children, or not. Everyone were just showing their appreciation for women on that day.
That's
And
so sweet.
and I think that that's something I feel like is missing in the United States. So it's interesting because it didn't feel, what I've read on internet just this morning, it didn't feel as a fight for gender equality. It just felt like the immense amount of love for women,
Hmm.
and it was, I would say, it was it was special. It was special to be in an environment where for one day it does, everyone, regardless of who they are, would do that. So
That sounds
that,
so nice.
yeah,
I'm
I think
wondering why the U.S. doesn't do it more. Like why doesn't it? Why don't we actually celebrate it in the capacity that a lot of other countries do?
yeah, I wonder about it too. I wonder about this too. So that's why, I wanted to do a acknowledgement, a public of acknowledgement of this day, because I think it's needed here in the United States, and I think we need to be able to have these conversations. It seems like we need a little bit more love for both genders, really, but on this day, definitely for women.
We could all do with a little bit more love and compassion and just showing appreciation for each other. That's part
Yeah,
of why I like it. Once I
yeah,
heard about it.
most definitely, most definitely. Well, listen, I don't want to hold you. I know you have celebrations to do. I appreciate you jumping on. Have an amazing birthday. I appreciate you. I love that you're fact of this community, and I always enjoy speaking with you and the rest of Prototype Fam. But you bring something very special to this community, so thank you.
Thanks so much, Yudi. I really appreciate your content, and I appreciate the fact that you always take the time to talk to each of us whenever we want to say a word. And I think that this is a really special community and a really special place. So I just also want to say happy International Women's Day to all of the community as well, all my ladies out there.
Thank you so much, John. Have a great day.
You too. Bye, Yudi.
Bye bye. Oh, what? It's always so amazing to speak with Prototype Fam. Let's see who is here. Speaking of Prototype Fam, looks like we have Jamie. Looks like we have Felicia. Looks like we have Daphne in here. Thank you. Thank you all for joining me live. All of you are members of Prototype Fam also, which is amazing. Let's see. This is completely off script, not planned, but there's few words that need to be said about women in general, because tomorrow is going to be your day, and in some countries it's already March 8th. I believe in New Zealand or some Asian countries it's already May 8th. So happy International Women's Day to you. Listen, I think that we got to remember, we got to remember how incredible women are. And obviously I'm a little biased too, because I was raised by two women. I was raised by my grandmother and my mother. And I think the fact that you give life, first of all, you not only give life, you nurture life, you teach, you you provide, you protect, you're doing all these things for children, and you give us something that dad can give us, right? That special love and affection that only woman can give. um I think even that is already enough, but you do so much more. um I can just tell you from my childhood, it never really hit me how truly fortunate and lucky I was to have my grandmother and to have my mother, and the way that they care for me. Now that I became adult, I realized that it was a luxury. Not everyone has that type of environment that I grew up in. Not everyone has that kind of love. Not everyone has that kind of affection. Um, and just to give you an example, like what my grandmother did. My grandmother, when I was little, I would get sick. I would get those flus. So I think well, I don't know if my immune system wasn't good, or if it just was normal because like a flu season was around. But long story short, I would my grandmother would give me a aspirin, a tablet, of aspirin to knock off my fever. And when I was little, I couldn't swallow it. I had this gag reflex. I just couldn't do it. And so my grandmother, she crushed the half of the tablet. She made it into powder so I can swallow it. Um, and it's just little things like that. I think back to and think like how much thought that went into those things on her part, like how much time, extra time she took to do those things. um I made a video about writing, writing in cursive. And after school my grandmother would spend hours with me. She wanted me to have a nice handwriting. So she would just sit there and she would show me how to write, and she would watch me write, and she would correct me, and she would guide me, and keep me accountable. So even when I wanted to leave and wanted to do something else, she would keep me accountable and make sure that I would complete a certain number of lines in cursive writing. Then, when I messed up back in the day, when you were little, they would put you in a corner. That's what they did in Russia. They would put you in if you did something bad, they would just, your face in the corner. You had to stand there as a punishment. And I hated being in a corner. I remember like being a little baby, cried staying in a corner. And she would do it to me when I would mess up and I would have to suffer the consequences. Um, my mom worked to support the family. Was a because my mom and my dad got divorced when I was one, so she was working to support a family, became essentially a breadwinner. Um, and when we came to US, uh, she just became such a strong support and continued to support and provide guidance. So the level of love, sacrifice, and commitment that they gave was unparalleled. And there's no way to repay that. There's absolutely no way to repay that because you can't get that time back. That's too many years. That's too many things. Not just financial, of course. It's the investment of time. So in a way, you know, these individuals, mom and grandmother, always will remain, always going to be part of who I am because they gave knowledge, they gave love, they gave support. And I think a lot of women do that. A lot of women do that in a such incredible way. And we're very lucky to have you all. I just want to make sure you know and understand that we are extremely lucky to have you. We're extremely lucky to have your love. We're extremely lucky to have your kindness. We're extremely lucky to have your friendships. We're extremely lucky to be in relationships with you, which obviously I talk a lot on this channel. Um, and thank you. Thank you for being you. And thank you for being part of this world because this world is much better with you. International Women's Day is tomorrow. So no matter what you choose to do, I hope you have an amazing day. And I hope that you remember that you are loved, that you are needed, and that you are truly amazing. And it's really all I wanted to say. We're not going to get too emotional over here, but we're definitely going to acknowledge the fact that we're very blessed to have you. Let's see who else we have here. We have Ruby from UK. Thank you for being here. Looks like we have Olga from UK as well. Yes, it's Joanna's birthday. Happy birthday, Joanna, once again. Looks like we have 236MS. Thank you for being here. And let's see. I think, yeah, we have also Felicia, Jamie, and Daphne in here. What's coming next? What's coming next? Next live show is going to take place on March 13 at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're going to talk about how men and women communicate differently. We already have done 2 parts of this video. If you haven't seen it, go check out the recording of it. Lots of content, lots of different interesting topic of conversation pertaining specifically to communication and how it impacts relationship, how it impacts dynamics between men and women. And we're going to continue on with that. The part 3 is going to be discussed this upcoming weekend. In the meantime, if you are not on Discord community, consider joining Discord. This is where a lot of prototype fam come together on a daily basis just to have a, I was going to say face to face, but phone screen to phone screen or computer screen to computer screen conversation on the different topics. This is also where you can get to know somebody from across the globe. And then you can also become a member of this amazing facility community. And members have their own separate chat on Instagram where we send each other funny notes, funny audios, where we support each other, when we share piece of advice, and when we more or less get to know each other as well on a different level. It's much deeper conversation, and it can go any way. You just never know which way that conversation is going to go. Point being, you have a couple different ways to get involved with the channel, and I want to make sure that you're aware of those ways, whether you choose to just join the Discord channel or you choose to become a member and engage in additional perks of the channel. With that, my friends, I hope that you have an amazing week, and I hope that you come back and engage and participate in the next live show this upcoming Sunday. As always, you can reach out on Instagram. You can comment on some of the community posts. You can email me. All that information is on my channel. That's all. I appreciate you joining. Happy International Women's Day. Always remain as amazing as you are. We love you very, very much. I love you, and I know you're loved by your family, friends, and maybe even secret admirers. Have an amazing day, everyone. Take care of yourself.